So what I've done is I've just disconnected the fuel line, the fuel supply line that goes into the carburetor right there. And I have just put my catch can right in there, and I'm gonna just go ahead and crank it over, making sure that nothing's gonna get caught up in the belt, and see if there's any fuel that flows out of there. I mean, there should be a lot of fuel that flows out of there if the pump's working. Well, as you can see, we've got almost nothing. There's a little dribble of fuel, but not nearly enough to fill the bowl up on the carb. Yeah, there's it's kind of foaming a little bit. And it smells absolutely terrible. I mean, it smells like turpentine. So I'm going to move on. So if you're not getting any fuel into the carburetor, your next step is to go down to the fuel pump itself and make sure that the fuel pump is getting fuel supplied to it. So that's what we're going to do next. So I've taken the lower hose off that supplies fuel to the pump, and it does not appear that there is any fuel making it up to the pump. So my next step is going to be to take an air gun and very gently, I mean, you don't want to put 100 psi of pressure into your tank, but I'm just going to gently blow some air back through this line with the gas cap off and listen for bubbles. I've already put 5 gallons of gas in the gas tank, and by blowing air through here, what it's going to do is it's going to clean out any blockage that we have in the line or at the bottom of the tank. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to talk you guys through how to pressurize the tank so you don't have to siphon gas out of here. So I've gone ahead and blown some compressed air through the supply line to the pump, and I've heard bubbles in the tank. So now I'm going to assume that the line going back to the tank does not have any major obstructions. So the next step is going to be to go ahead and put the cap back on the fuel tank so that I can blow some air, put some compressed air into this line and actually pressurize the tank. And by doing that, what it's going to create is it's going to create air pressure in the tank that's going to want to force fuel out of this line. So the bubbles will go up through the gas into that empty spot of the tank and then force the fuel back into this line, basically like pressurizing the tank to force the fuel through. So I'm blowing air in there, just barely putting any air in there, and I can hear the tank kind of filling up a little bit. I let off, and it's hissing a little bit. You guys probably can't hear any of this on the microphone, but I can tell that the tank is pressurized. Yeah, still pressurized, but I'm not getting any fuel up here. So we've got a some kind of blockage in the fuel line somewhere going back, because I've got 5 gallons of gas in the tank, and none of it is making its way up to the fuel pump. So I'm going to crawl underneath the vehicle and see if I can find a bent line or a damaged line or something that would be stopping us from getting fuel from the tank. So I crawled underneath the Mustang and inspected the fuel line, all the metal line all the way back. And what I found is this supply line just feels really funny. So my guess is that it has internally separated and is acting kind of like a one-way valve, not allowing fuel to pass through it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off and replace it with another regular line and see. I'll cut this open and we'll see if that really is the source of our problem. So after some cursing and some fuel running down my armpit, you can see it's on the floor. There's the old hose. I was able to get a new hose on that supply line from the tank to the hard line that runs along the frame rail. So now I'm going to go back up to the fuel pump itself and see if we can get some fuel up there. So as I suspected by how it felt, this rubber hose is completely deteriorated. You can see it's kind of turned into this like gelatinous rubber inside, and it's cracking pretty bad, and I can just like dig my fingernail into it and peel pieces off of it. It's hard as a rock over here on the other end, but inside it is totally cracked and was completely sealing itself off whenever fuel or vacuum was applied to it.